So I'm going to start recording now. So this question, right? The instruction said you are given a trial balance which shows debit and credit in different columns. You want to create a third column, which is this yellow cells, right? Where you will show the debit as positive and credit as negative. So this is debit, this is credit. Debit is positive, credit is negative, which is weird. In the yellow cell, create an if function that will check if the debit for the relevant row is 0, which case it must pull through the negative of the credit column. So if this guy is 0, use whatever value that is here and make it negative. Otherwise, bring through whatever is in the debit column. So otherwise, whatever is here should be here, which is positive. The visual representation of the decision is shown below. If dr is 0, if true, minus cr, if false, dr, right? So literally, so if you want to start writing a formula, you just say equal to, and you now type your function. So they say if. So once I type my if function, the first thing is the logical operation. So logical operation is if this guy, right, is 0. So I want to use relative cell referencing by locking either the alphabet or the number. What am I locking? What am I putting $ in front of? Somebody should respond to me so that we'll continue. If you understand absolute and relative cell reference. Hello? Somebody should respond to me, or I'm asking a question. I want to believe everybody is hearing me. Everybody can hear me.
Yeah, sir, please ask the question again. I did not get it.
So I said, with regards to this particular column, this particular cell, I want to apply absolute or relative cell referencing. I want to lock something. I want to put a $ in front of something. Am I putting a $ in front of the column or in front of the row?
The column, I guess.
Are you
The C.
guessing?
The C.
So the reason is because I'm going to drag this formula down. You understand? And I know, and I want to drag it across column C, which is why I'm just locking column C. I also want the row to change by 15, 16, 17. So I'm going to leave it. So if it is what? 0 equal to 0, then negative this guy. And I'm going to lock this too as well. But I will lock it based on column. Else, this guy. That's just it. And you can see it is done. Then you click and drag. Can you guys see? That's just the easiest way to solve this. I don't want to apply it in everything. I just want to apply it from here to this place. So you can either click and drag, or you drag you highlight all of the cell, go to where the formula is, Control Enter. It's going to apply to everything. You can see that it has already formatted it, which is what I was talking about, formatting. And what I was talking about formatting is, you see this, somebody just puts the numbers like that without having to see. You can see that it's either having a dot, and this $1,000 after every 3 values, it put a comma. So it's good that you also format it in this format. It's very important for readability. We've already done this. So exercise 3 in yellow block, use if statement to only give commission if sales equal or is bigger than the level at which the commission kicks in. So this is the commission 5%, level at which it kicks in 20,000 rand. So I think this is South African currency. So you now say equal to if, or you can go to the function icon, click on it, and you go select what you want, or you type what you want here and click on go. So if, and now click go, just show me the if function. I'll select, click on OK. So the logical operation is if this cell here, and I also want to lock the column, if it is greater than greater or equal to this guy here, which I want to lock absolute cell referencing, then give me this guy, and I also want to lock it. Else, put a number there, please, 0, and you click on OK. Now, if you want to leave it empty, you can leave it empty if you so want. You understand? But for the purpose of, because it's a percentage now, so I was talking about formatting. So this is in percentage, so you have to click on the formatting, right? So it formats correctly. So if this is 5%, it cannot be empty. So this will either be 0 or something. You get? Which is why I think who posted empty, the person put empty cells. Well, you have to actually put a number since this is just percentage, right? So I think only one person got this, and it's just an application of absolute cell referencing. So in the example, we want to be able to switch between two different scenarios for sales and selling rating. In B23 and 24, units sold, selling price, use if function, if statement to tell Excel which cell to use depending on what the numbers are in B8 and B9. In B23, use the if statement to tell Excel if cell B8 is 1. So if this guy is 1, then use B13. Otherwise, use B14. Remember to think about the $sign so that you can copy it across. So they are telling you that make use of your relative and absolute cell referencing very well. So for units sold is this guy. For selling price is this ones here. So we'll now say our if statement will say if unit, if this is equal to 1, right? Else, what is the value if true? B13, right? And because we are moving across the row, we are moving across the column, and the row is going to be the same thing. We are just going to lock the row and leave the column open. Else, B14. Do you understand? Then you are done, and you click and you drag. So you can see it's going to copy this guy. Now, the same thing for the second one, equal to if the logical operation is if selling price, we're going to lock it because we don't want to change, is equal to 1, then B18, and because we are going to drag it across, so we are just going to lock the row and leave the column. Else B19, and you are done, and you can click and drag. Now that I think about it, I think a reasonable amount of people failed this. Now that I think about it. The last question is, let me see. So they say we have a listing of employees and how many hours that worked on a number of days. We need to allocate the hours to normal time, 8 hours. So the normal working hour is 8 hours. Over time, anything over 8 hours on a day, and leave used anything less than 8 hours. So in E11, which is E11, this is 11 and this is E, so this cell. Use if to either show 8 hours or less, or the lesser number if less than 8 hours are worked. If the hours worked was 12, then this column must be 8. If the hours worked was 6, then this column, then it must only show 6. So it's just simple. Equal to if this is greater or equal to 8, then 8. Else, I don't need to put 6 actually. I just need to just click on this guy. And I'm going to go, because I'm going to go across the row and the column is going to remain the same. So it's fine if you do it like this. Okay, so now the flaw with this one is number 7 here. So it's either going to be 6 or it's going to be 8. So let's see. What was the listing? If formula to either show 8 hours or less number, if less than 8 hours, or if the hours worked was 12, then column must be 8. If the hours worked, so if the hours worked was 6, then column must be 6. To either show 8 hours or lesser number if less than 8. Oh, okay, I think this is correct. So this person worked for, so anything that is 8 or more should be 8. Anything that is less than 8 should be that number. So for overtime, that's in F11. How many hours overtime were worked? If hours shown in D are more than 8 hours, then show the difference between 8 hours worked and the hours worked and 8. Otherwise, 0. Otherwise, show 0. If the hours worked was 12, then it must show 4. That's 12 minus 8. Otherwise, it must show 0. That is self-explanatory. So if this person, is greater or equal to 8, right? Then this person minus 8, right? Else 0. So you can click and drag and you are good. Then in G11, column show, in G11 column, show how many hours must be deducted from leave where the employee work less than the minimum 8 hours. So if the hours worked was only 6, then this column must show 2. That's 8 minus, that's weird, 8 minus 2. That's weird. This is just weird. It's not supposed to show this. It's supposed to be 8 minus. This is wrong, actually.
I think it's 8 minus 6.
Yeah, it's 8 minus 6. Yeah, this is wrong. So I think it's because it's just giving an example. So if the hour showed was 12, then 0. So anything greater than 8, put 0. Anything less than 8, remove 8 minus that number. So it's the same thing. If this guy actually, you can use this if this is equal to 0 if you so want. That's the, yeah, but that's one way to go about it, because this is overtime. Anybody that is 0 here is less than 8, right? So you can use, if this is equal to 0, and we are going to test the theory. But if this is less than 8, right, and I'm going to lock it. I want you guys to get used to this locking of column and rows. If this guy is less than 8, then 8 minus this cell, else 0. So you click and drag and you can see 0. Now let's try the other method, equal to if. Now over time, usually they said is if this person is over time is anything that is not 0 here, right? In that is F is column F. Anything that is not 0, it means that it's more than 8 hours. It's 8 hours or more. Or it's more than 8 hours. So the person worked more than 8 hours and by this number. So you can say if F11 is equal to 0, literally you can say it's equal to 0. Then 8 minus, sorry please, 8 minus, again is complicated but interesting, else 0. You can also use that and you get the same response. So you can see the 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1. So if you want to confirm if each of these cells are the same thing, let's say there are a lot of cells there and you just want to do a comparison, you now say is this cell equal to this cell, and that's, you are done. It would either tell you true or false. So if it is true, it means that all of them are the same thing. Anywhere that is false, you know that maybe your formula is wrong somewhere. So this is a way to test if two cells are equal. Make sense? Any question? Any questions? I need some questions. Hello? Are you guys there, or is my network that is bad? Then they stop. Hold on. So for you to use count, the condition is that the content of the cell is a number. You get? Now watch what happens if I click across, if I drag across. You can see this guy is showing me 50 and this one is showing me 50. This is a date, right? But it's still showing me 50. Let me explain what this is. Actually, in Excel, date is actually a number in Excel. They usually will count from the beginning of BC. I think they are using the BC calendar from 0. So when they started the BC calendar, from 0 to 1, 2, 3, 4. So they are counting it in number of days. And that's how they came about date. They actually counted it from, I think it's BC or AD. I can't remember, but it should be AD. They are using the AD calendar, which I think is the Gregorian calendar. So it's counting from the day they started mentioning. I think it's after the Gregorian calendar is after the death of Jesus, right? I think that's what it means. So from that day, day 1, day 0, day 1, day 2, day 3, like that. I cannot remember, but I think Microsoft Excel is counting in days. Now watch what happens if I click on this 14 format painter and click on the date. It will show me a number, 42,016. So from that particular day 0 till December, January 2015, January 12, 2015 is 42,000 um 42,016. Watch what happens if I put 2024. You see that the number will change. Please take note of this because you can see the number has changed to 45,303. So it is actually a number from day one of when they started counting dates. I think this particular date, this is our Gregorian calendar, from day zero, it's counting from there. So it's counting it as a number. Every day is a number. Day. So it is literally, today will be day 45,303 from the day the Gregorian calendar started. So that is how Excel actually counts date. This date format that you see is just aesthetics. Do you get? And so that is why it is counting, because they say count number, and that's why it is counting the date as a number. It's seen as actually a number. Do you understand? Do you have any question? So, do you have any question before we continue? Hello? Any questions? Can you guys? Okay, no question. So, if we now want to count, so this didn't give us our desired result because we wanted to count the number of names, right? In order for us to count the number of names, which is the number of cells that have other than number, which is text, for instance, we are going to use a different kind of count, and it's called count A. Now, count A is a function that counts cells that are not empty. They are not empty, so it can be number or it can be text. So you can see count A, it showed you an example. Count the number of cells in a range that are not empty. So regardless of what is there, it's going to count it. So equal to count A is now saying that we should select the range. Actually, we just do this. And if you want, you can just lock everything, or you lock, in this case, the column, the row. And you can see now it has counted the cells that are not empty. Now, watch what happens if I copy and paste it under this place here. It's still going to show me 50. And remind you, we are in column C now. If I copy it and paste it under the number, it's still going to show me 50. And it's not because we are in cell column B, we are now in column D, as the case may be. You can see the formula column D. So this just counts only cells that are not empty. Does that make sense? So then, if you want to count cells that are empty, there's a count called blank, count blank. In order to do that, I'm just going to go down here again, go to the function icon. I'll do count, enter, count blank. So as the case may be, count blank. So cells that are empty. Count the number of empty cells in a specific range of cells. Now I will just click on OK. So it said B, no, I want you to do this. And I'm just going to lock the row and leave the column. Click on enter. It will tell me 0 because everything here is filled. Now I can just copy and paste, or I will just drag. Now, what do you think is going to show me if I come here? It's going to show me 50 empty cells, but 0 non-empty. So it's going to show me 50 because we have 50 empty cells from row 11 to row 60. So 50 empty cells. Now, you'll be wondering, what's my business with this? What am I going to use this for? And stuff like that. Let me give you a case study. Now, let's say, assuming we have a combination of text and number. Name, maybe they made a mistake. Somebody made a mistake in entering name. I'm going to do Control Shift up, Control C, and I'm going to paste this here. Control V. I will just randomly copy numbers and paste it somewhere at random. And let's say I'm just going to use this. I'll be sending you guys another link. This meeting will be ending in 2 minutes. But so far, do you guys have any questions? Hello, can you guys hear me? I want to assume I'm audible. Do you guys have any question?
You're audible. We can hear you, sir.
Any question? No question. You guys are gurus, so if you are not asking
I think
questions.
Jessica.
Sorry?
Jessica raised a hand.
Oh, Jessica, sorry, I didn't see you. Please ask
No,
me.
it's a mistake. I wanted to use the emoji and then I mistakenly
Are
clicked
you
on it.
sure?
Thank you, Abraham. Yeah, no, it's a mistake.
Oh, okay. So now let's say I have name here, but I'm now seeing numbers. I want to know how many names are here. What do I do? It's mixed with number. I want to now know how many names are here. What do I do? Who can tell me what I'm going to do? To know the number of names that are here without using filter.
Count if.
Eh?
Count if.
Count what?
If.
Count if.
I'll be count A.
Count A. Which one now? Talk. No, talk. We are rubbing mine. I didn't hear you clearly. Did you say count if or count A? Which one?
Count A.
Count A. So what does count A do?
It is used to count cells
No,
that are not empty, whether it's text or number.
So if I use count A, what do you think I'm going to get? So who wants to go next? Well, I came here, try again.
I don't know, but I think when you were talking, you said to the ones that are not numbers, we use count if for it. So that's why I said count it to know the ones that the number of cells that are not numbers.
Okay. I mentioned 3 counts. I said count will count only numbers. Count A will count only numbers in a particular range of cell. Count A will count every cell that is not empty. Sorry. Count blank will count all empty cells. So now that we have cells that are not empty and cells that have number, how then do we count the number of names? Who can tell me? Somebody say count A. You are correct, or not totally, but halfway there. Abraham, do you want to try?
No, sir. I don't want to try yet, sir.
Okay.
So let me. Okay.
Okay, no, talk. Go on.
Okay, I don't know. I just want to attempt. I think maybe we could give the command where the names are, you count, and where the numbers are,
And that's the idea now. But how do we implement it? The idea is there. How do you implement it using what you have been exposed to? That the idea is there now to do that. That one is to come up with ideas is very easy. How do we now use what is available on Microsoft Excel to achieve this? Anybody? But count A, you actually are going to use count A. Does that make sense? Okay, let's try. So we want to count the number of names. Count the number of names. I'm going to take it Control X, Control V. So we want to count the number of names. They say the national grid is down. We will have light here. We just got light now. Count numbers alone. So if we want to count the number of names, remember count A will count every cell that is not empty. Count blank will count every cell that is empty, right? Count in itself will only count numbers. So if you want to separate this thing now, you will now say equal to count A, which is to count everything, right? And I'm going to lock it. Then I'll now say minus count. And I'm going to lock it. So it means that we have 36 names. How do we know that? If we want to just count numbers alone, we'll say equal to count. Then we'll now say, we'll highlight everything, lock it, and done. So this will only count the numbers. So it says the numbers here are 14. Let's do a count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Right? So if we want to do a count of everything regardless of number or text, you can see the count here is showing me 50, right? Number of selected cells that contain data is showing me 50. So 50 minus 14 will give me what? Which is what? Equal to count A. Count A will give me 50. Number of the count of the numbers is what? 14. So literally 50 minus 14 will give me what? Give me 36. It's just logic and simple math. You guys understand? Interesting, right? Any questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Ask your question.
So this count, is it mostly needed when you have a group of informations like this? Is it mostly needed or is it mostly used?
You use it. So all of these things are use case. You use it. Let me see. I don't know if I used it somewhere, but sometimes you just want to get numbers out of a list of data. And one problem can just come out. You just want to. I can't explain a use case scenario now, but you can see how you can you use it. Now we did each of them. You see how they work. We now did we now joined the functions together. A lot of times you use functions when you are doing automation. You want to automate certain process, you use combination of functions very well. So they are called custom functions. So you see, for instance, you wanted to talk about let's say if you want to talk about a project that you did using, you automated that particular project, you say, I automated certain report using custom built function. I built those functions because Excel is giving you these functions individually. It is now you that is combining them. So you are the one building those functions. So these are custom. To get this particular number of names, we use a custom built function. It's inbuilt, but we built it again from scratch. It's just like Lego blocks. Any question? So I can't remember a use case, but this is how you use combination to solve problems. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Jessica, Folakemi, do you have any questions? Oh, let me on the light. Are you sure you the assignment that is coming after this is not going to be funny? So if you have questions now, I better ask. Because I'll themselves, right? Does that make sense? You can see that these numbers here, they are about 50 numbers, but you can see that some of them are similar, so they are repeating. I'm going to show you two tricks. Let's say I want to copy these numbers. I want to get the Khadija, welcome back. Sorry you missed a lot. So let's say I want to get these numbers. I want to know the number of times a particular number repeated itself. I'm going to do two things. So the question is, I want to know for each number, how many times did the number repeat itself in this range of numbers? That's from cell D11 to D60. I want to know the number of times a particular number repeated itself in that range of cells that I've highlighted. So I will just say total number of hours. Let me go to, I'm going to go to this place. Now, I think I mentioned something about paste as value. So I'll just say Control V. I'm not going to paste as value because I want to copy the format as well. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'll highlight this particular cell, and I'm going to highlight it from the column itself where my arrow turns to black and facing down. I will highlight it. It shows that I've selected all the column regardless of the cell. The next thing I'm going to do is to go to data, and you see this remove duplicate. I'm going to remove duplicate. Let me send you guys another link. And so by the time I go to this remove duplicate, what this will do is to actually remove duplicate. So anything that has repeated itself, and it will remove duplicate and give me a unique set of cells that are not repeating. You'll never see them repeating itself. So that's what's going to happen. I'll just click on remove duplicate. So you can see to delete duplicate values, select one or more columns that contain duplicates. So I've selected it, and you see the column is total work hours. Click on OK. You can see it's telling me that 53 duplicate values were found and removed. 10 unique values remain. Note that the count may include empty cells and spaces, right? Now, so imagine that in all of this number, these are the unique values. We have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So from 6 to 14, right? Now, I want to count the number of times each of this particular number appeared in this table. In this our table under the total number of hours. So let's see. We can name the next column number of, or just say count. I'm not good with naming things. So you can do that, right? And now, in order for me to count, I want to count based on a condition. So I want to do a count of these total hours worked based on the condition that is 6, based on the condition that is 9. So I want to count only 6 and count only 9. So it's a count based on conditions. My tea is coming. Oh, just hold on. Can you guys hear me? I want to do a count based on a condition. The condition is that based on each individual numbers. So I want to do a count of this cell of only 6. So I'm only giving it a condition. So anytime you are counting based on a particular thing, you want to count only something, you use, and if you hear anything that has to do with condition, know that there is an if of. You get? If anything that has to do with condition, just know that there's an if that is involved. The if function is also involved. So it now depends on what you want to do with that if function. And you can use, they found a way to combine if and other functions together, which is the count if. So for me to bring out that particular function, I can either say equal to do count if what, or I can just click on my function icon, do count, and you can see my count if. So you can see it's telling you what it's going to look like, a range and a criteria, which is our range now is multiple cells. So we are going to highlight multiple cells and a criteria. What's our criteria? I want to count how many times 6 came up. So 6 is our criteria. In another place, we want to count 7 only, 8 only. So those are our criteria. So it's now going to tell you, if you are reading this, it's going to tell you, count the number of cells within a range that meets a given condition. So let's put it to test. Click on OK. So our range. What is our range? Where do we want to count from? Where are we doing the counting? We want to count from this range. That's from D11 to D60. Now, I said anytime you're actually highlighting a range, it's important that you do absolute cell reference so that you don't change. The reason is because if you do absolute cell referencing and you click and drag, it will remain the same thing. But if you leave it relative cell referencing, by the time you click and drag, it keep going one row downwards. Usually, I think somebody made that mistake. One of this particular Abraham also. Now, what is my criteria? My criteria is this particular cell 6. Now, because I'm going to click and drag and I want the row number to change, I'm only going to lock the column. I'll put $sign in front of the column and click on OK. So it's telling me that 6 appeared 5 times. And by the time I click and drag, it's telling me that 9 appeared 4 times, 8 appeared 17 times, 14 appeared 7 times, like that. How then would we know if this is true? We are going to do alt equal to sum the number of counts, and I'm very sure it's going to give me. And that's how we would know that, oh, okay. And we can now put it to test, we'll just highlight this this particular range of cells, and we'll just go to this sort and filter, and we'll add a filter. Now we are going to now filter for only 6, and let's do a count of it, and we'll just test run and see. So you can see 6 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's randomly do a test for 11. How many times is 11? 11 here it says twice, right? We'll just come here on select 6, select 11, click OK. You can see it appears just how many times? 2 times. Let's do random for 14. Randomly for 14. Or let's do for 13. 13 is 4 times. You can see it appeared 4 times. Let's do for 8. 8 appeared 17 times. So if I click and drag and come down here, you see my count. Count number of selected cells that contain data is showing me that it's 17. You can actually change what you are counting here. So this setting. Okay. So you can now see that the application of count if, right? So count ifs, that is with S, is if you have multiple conditions. Do you understand? Let me give you an example of that. You want to ask any question? Open. We'll have any question. Are you guys confused?
We are not confused.
Do you guys understand? Okay, good. Thank you for understanding. I love this class, seriously. Very interesting. So, good. So, you see these names, right? If we click on the names, I can see that some of these names are repeating itself. So we are going to do a count ifs this time, which is I'm going to click here. I think I'll just, and I want to just leave only unique values. So I'll go to data, remove duplicate, and click on OK. You can see it said 45 duplicate values found and remove 5 unique values. And note that the count will include. Click on OK. So you can see out of all of this name, apparently we only have 5 names out of all of these names. So it looks like it's a roster. Now we want to check by name and by number of hours that was spent, total work hours. We want to just check how many times by name and by hours did each of these names did this number of hours. We want to check how many times. Now in order for me to do that, I'm going to show you another formula called transpose. So I'm going to put these hours by the I'm going to put these hours, each of them, so 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like that. First I'm going to say I want to sort this out. Right click, sort, smallest to highest. Yep. So I've done smallest to highest. I've sorted them by smallest to highest, so it will be in hierarchy 6, 7, 8. That's the first thing. Second thing, I want to put this 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 to 14 here. So I know it's from 6 to 14. I can decide to start typing 6, 7, like that. So the first way I can do this is to say 6. I will just click and drag to my right. And you see this plus sign. You see this sign here. If you click, drag, and say fill series, so to give me 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like that. So, and we have up to 14. So you just click and drag to 14. That's one way to go. You can manually type it. That's another way to go. Or let's assume it is not in series like that. It's not progressive like that. And I will just want to copy this number here. So I can decide to say 6, maybe the next one is 8, the next one is 20, like that. You'll do it manually. Or the other way to go about it is you do what they call a transpose. And what transpose does is it's going to convert something that is aligned vertically. It will just, so let's say this phone is like this, right? transpose will just turn it this way. Then if it is like this, transpose will turn it. It will bring it back to horizontal. So if it is if the cell or the range of cell is highlighted vertical, that is in the column wise, transpose will convert it to horizontal, and if it's horizontal, it will convert it to vertical. Let me show you. I'll say equal transpose, and I'm going to select the array I want to transpose. So you can now see it, right? So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It has already done it for me. So then when I'm done, I can just select, highlight, copy, control, then paste as value, because I want to make it independent of this particular guy. Now, there's another very interesting stuff. When I did remove duplicate, you can actually do the same thing using formula. There's a formula called unique. If I say equal to unique, or a function called unique, and I select an array, and what do I want to select? Just the numbers. And click on enter. It will just show me only the unique values. The same thing with the names. If I just say equal to unique, and I select the names, Control Shift down, it's going to automatically select. Go down, click on OK. You can see the names, Dorothy, like that, and we have a count of 5, which happens to be the same. You get. Now, I can combine these two, transpose and unique, to get this same. It might not be in the same order, but I can combine it. So I can say equal to transpose, then unique. Okay. And I'm going to just highlight the initial array, click on OK, and you can see what it has given. Although it's not in hierarchy, it's not progressive, but it has given me 6, 7, 8, like that, 9, 10. Just like what it was here when we decided to sort it. I think we can even sort. Not sure. Let me sort. Is there sort? That's serious, oh. That is interesting. That is interesting. Let me sort it. Oh, it didn't sort it. Let me sort. Okay, in order. So there's a sort order. 1 is ascending, -1 is descending. So 1, ascending order. Click on OK. Or it did not sort. But I think, I can use the sort inside the folder. Again, don't get, just trying to create sort. Yep. Oh, that's interesting. It has sorted it out for me. So this is how you combine formula, and this one is like, I've never used this before. Funny enough, I'll just try. That's interesting. Anyways, but don't bore yourself with this stuff. Again, I'm just showing you guys different techniques that you can actually use. But the main goal, the main goal here, we are talking about counting. I'm just trying to introduce some other formulas. You might not use these regularly. You don't use everything regularly. Some of these functions, you use them to make your work faster. You get. Some is just to make your work faster. Some is just to automate certain processes. While some you use on a day-to-day basis, like the sum function, use it on a day-to-day basis. That's, but I'm just going to keep this so that you guys can have it. Now, the count if, hold on. So the count if, I want to count how many times did Dorothy Naveen did 6 hours. How many times did she do 7 hours, 8 hours, 9 hours? How many times? The same thing for polylog. And in order for me to do that, I'm going to do a count if, but I have multiple conditions. Now I want to do by the number of hours, total number of hours individually. I want to do by the total, by the name, unique name, unique numbers. Yes, unique number of hours. So I'm going to so that's like two conditions, by number and by name. So we did that of name. This is we did that of number. Now I want to combine name and number. So I'll go to my function. Now I'm looking for count, but count if, ifs. That's multiple conditions. So you can see count ifs, criteria, range, criteria. So count the number of cells specific by giving set of conditions or criteria. Click on OK. So the first criteria range is my whichever range I want to use. So if it is name you want to use, you will use your criteria range of name. So let's start with name, and you can use it. How this you can use it. You don't have it doesn't have to be in a particular order. I can do total number of hours, then come and do it. So, but let's do name. So my criteria range from my first criteria is name. I'm going to lock it. Come to my criteria. What's my criteria? This name. Now my name is going downwards. I'll click and drag down. So I'm going to lock the column and leave the row. My second criteria is total number of hours, which is here. So the criteria range will be here, which is my range. Then my criteria will be what? This cell here. Now this cell is moving horizontally, so I'm going to lock the row and leave the column open. Okay. So you can see the total number of hours, the total number of times Dorothy worked for 6 hours 3 times. Now I can just click highlight everything here. Click on my formula, control enter, and it's going to apply it. I just did it one time. I don't need to do it multiple times. Now watch one thing. Are you seeing my sum here? Are you seeing my sum here? It's telling you that the number of times this particular thing happened is 50 times, which coincide with the number of cells on this particular range of cells. 50 times. So that's how you do your test, your litmus test. Now let us even test this matter. Let's go to Dorothy again. Click. Let's go to the number of hours, which is 6. You can see it appeared 3 times, right? Which is what we have here. Let's go to Dorothy 7, where the number is 7. You can see there's no 7 here, but let's say we want to do a number filter. It's equal to 7. It's going to show me 0. It will show me nothing. Let's clear this particular filter. Let's go to port heading field, and let's go to 14 hours. Let's go to 14 hours. So you can see this Scott Edenfield work 14. No, the number of times he worked 14 hours is 3. Let's locate Scott Edenfield as you can see it's 3. So you do this litmus test to check if your formula you wrote is actually correct or not. Does that make sense? So should I go further or I should stop? Because I think by learning. What's your suggestion? Should I move further or what? So my sum range will be my total number of hours worked. My first criteria range will be anyone. You can use gender, then again I'll use gender. It doesn't have an order. So my first criteria range is the gender range. Then criteria will be what? This first criteria, and because I'm going to drag across, I will lock what the row. I will lock the row and leave the column. My second criteria range is the country, and my criteria is what? This particular cell L3. Because I'm going to click and drag downwards, I will lock the column and leave it and click on OK. You can see for US alone, for female 83, and I'll just click everything, and you can now see US 83, um, uh, Egypt, that is male, is 100, Poland, that is female, is 0, and that is male is 103, and UK female is 190. And we can do that test, right? So US female 83, Egypt, that is a male, is 100 and 100 and 100. Poland, that is male, cumulative is 102, and UK, that is female, cumulative is 190. And the reason why you might not fully understand this is because it's the same name. Had it been there are different set of people, male, female, like that, you see that it will be a little bit different. Let's say I just change, let's say this male here, I'm assuming that this particular group of people are, let's say the particular names here are different names, they are male. And for female, I'll just take 4 of these. Let me just mix it up a bit. So paste it here, paste it here. And you can see by the time I start changing it, you can see the numbers are changing here. And that's because it's automatic. And if I paste this, you see that the number changes. And it's one of the enjoyable thing me personally I like about use of functions. Use it for automation. And so with this, you can actually automate a particular process. You make your changes on your table, and automatically you don't need to do the report again. Let's say they want you to do a summary of this report by gender and country. By the time, and if you have done this automation, you've written your formula somewhere, you don't need to repeat writing of that formula again once you make any changes to your table. That is one of the advantages, and it's the greatest advantages. It's the greatest advantage of using functions and formulas. I think I'm going to